Good morning, 9 a.m. Welcome to class. Today is everybody's favorite. Hello? Yeah, I need somebody who can translate from coach into English, please. Copy that. I can help. He is saying that it is literally nobody's favorite because everybody's mobility sucks. There is absolutely no reason why overhead squats should not be your favorite, and that is what today's class is for. It is a mobility flow to help you find more ease in your overhead squat, hopefully. And it's not exactly a traditional yoga class per se, but it does have that flow element to it. So you will need 2 blocks for this class. If you don't have blocks, don't worry about it. If you are doing this at the gym, you may use some elevation with plates. Pack a couple of plates out for yourself. And then you're also going to need a PVC pipe or a broom so that we can sweep our lack of mobility out of the way. Another reason why a block or some sort of elevation like plates might be a good idea is because when we do some seated twists and stuff and you don't have a lot of range in your hips, then that little bit of elevation can help you with that as well. We are going to start in a child's pose. So bring the knees about as wide as your mat. If you don't have a mat, visualize how wide that mat would be, more or less. And the big toes are going to come together in the back. Hands are going to reach forward as we bring the forehead to the mat. Allow the elbows to release down onto the mat. And just take a moment here to take a couple of deep, deep belly breaths. On the inhale, visualize the belly and the rib cage expanding, even that space in between the shoulder blades expanding. And on the exhale, let it all go. Slow and steady. Think about the rib cage expanding all the way around to the back into the shoulder blades as we inhale. And release on the way out. Couple more deep, deep breaths here. Just allow yourself to be present, to be here now. Focusing on your well-being. Then slowly bring the hands toward each other. Let the palms touch. Allow those elbows to wiggle in towards the head as close as you can. Bring that shark fin up. And then lift the forehead. Imagine driving the elbows down into the mat and pulling them slightly apart. Very, very gentle. We're still just getting warmed up. So be kind to yourself. But start energizing it a little bit more by that feeling of pulling it apart. Even though there is no physical movement, you'll feel this energetically in the upper back, shoulders. And then gently release. Walk the hands all the way over towards the right side. The chest is coming over that right thigh. Feeling a big stretch in the left side body. The left hand may even come on top of the right. Imagine gently pressing down that left hand and feel like you're pulling it back towards you. Lengthen, lengthen through the left side body. If this is a sweet spot, stay right here, or even think about that left ribcage rolling slightly down towards the mat. Once again, this is not a massive movement, it's more energetic, of that feeling of creating length in the left side body. Inhaling into the left ribcage. And release. Walk the hands back to center and over towards the left. So the chest is now coming over the left thigh. Reach left arm out. Maybe right hand comes on top of it. If not, just beside it. Press the right hand down into the floor and imagine dragging it back towards you. Lengthen through the right side body. Once again, option to feel like you're rolling that right ribcage down towards the mat. And slowly walk the hands all the way back to center. And bring yourself back up. Keeping the knees wide, we're going to come into spinal rolls. So imagine cat and cow, but the knees stay wide. As we come forward, we're going to tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone, round the spine, press the floor away, adjust the hands as you need to. And on the way back, we're going to drop the belly, looking up, press the floor away as the sit bones lead the way all the way back towards the heels. Bring it forward, round the spine, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. And reverse the movement, drop the belly, looking up, sit bones lead the way. A couple more of these ripples. If you prefer, you are welcome just to do a regular traditional cat-cow. Beautiful. And bring it all the way back to neutral. Walk the knees together and sit down onto the shins. This is where you are going to need your PVC pipe or your broom. Left hand is going to overhand grip. Right hand is going to underhand grip. Keep it out in front of you, and then we're just going to twist it. Twist it, twist it, twist it. Finding movement in those wrists. Maybe start thinking about this movement becoming a little faster. It's really hard. And bring it to stillness, then we're going to switch. Right hand overhand grips, left hand underhand grips, and twist it. Keep going, keep twisting. Make sure both are working. And release. You can place it off to the side. We're not gonna need that again. Then bring it back forward into tabletop. Tuck the toes and sit yourself back onto the heels. If this is intense, allow yourself to bring the weight forward a little and slowly see what is a good spot for you to stay in a happy place. Never push your body into a place of pain. And if it is comfortable, we're gonna come all the way seated onto those heels, opening up the feet. Lots of ankles here, so maybe wiggle a little side to side. Very careful though, because it can be sensitive. Nobody goes to the gym and says, today I'm going to work out my feet and my toes. But that's what yoga is for, right? It helps us focus on all those little things. And then bring it all the way back to stillness. We're going to interlace the fingers behind the back. Press that fist down towards the floor. Open up the chest. Squeeze shoulder blades together. Just find a gentle upward gaze, not cranking the neck. And then also think about pulling the fist slightly away from the body. So it's not resting on your back, slightly pulling away from the body. And gently release. Bring the hands back down, coming back into tabletop. We are stacking the hips on top of the knees, the shoulders on top of the wrists, coming into scapula push-ups. So the index finger points to the top of the mat, the eye of the elbow points forward, or the crease of the elbow, whatever you want to call it. And then from here, without moving the arms are straight. Imagine a metal rod all the way from the wrist to the shoulder. We're just going to dip the chest down and push the floor away around the spine. So all the movement here is in the shoulder blades. Dip it down and press it away. We're going to go for a couple more. You're welcome to move at your own pace. Slow is preferred instead of fast. To really feel through all the movements here and visualize the shoulder blades pulling away from each other, broadening, and then squeezing back together. Keeping those arms as straight as you can. And now option to just go up and down, or we're going to find some circular movement. So as we press away, bring it forward, dip it down, bring it back up. So kind of like a locomotive motion. Switching directions. Focusing all the movement in the shoulder blades. And bring it back to stillness. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, coming into a downward facing dog. Drive the left heel down, generous bend in the right knee. The focus is on the ankles. We don't particularly focus on the hamstrings for today's class, although we do get that benefit here as well. But really focus on driving that heel down, the left heel, and maybe even lifting through those left toes. Push the chest towards the thighs, get a good calf stretch as well. And then we're going to switch sides. So generously bend the left leg, right heel drives down into the mat. Maybe even lift those right toes. Once again, think about pressing the chest towards the thighs, look towards the knees. Switch. Left heel drives down, right knee bends. And one more time, switch. And bring it all the way back into that down dog. From here, three-legged dog, right leg sweeps up, point the toes, squeeze the glutes, and the left heel is heavy towards the mat. Look forward, we're going to come into a pigeon pose. Right knee comes wider than the right wrist. Shin sort of kind of parallel to the top of the mat, but also not really at all. So don't even worry about having that parallel to the top of the mat. Just really focus on opening up the knee wider than the wrist, so it's not towards center, so we can really open up the hip. The back foot is going to scoot back a little, place the knee down, top of the foot comes down. Think about those hip bones, both level, pointing down and forward. So we're not sitting off to the right side and that left hip bone is doing whatever. And then from here, we're just going to find a gentle bend in the elbows. Start driving into that right leg. So the entire shin is pressing down into the floor, the knee, the foot. And from here, option to bring hands to heart center. There's a lot of power in that front leg, a lot happening here, but of course it is optional. So you can bring fingertips down. Let's take 2 more deep breaths. You got it. And release. Hands can come down. Sit off to the right side. Allow the left leg to come forward. You're going to give yourself a little massage here. So that left foot is going to get some 5-star treatment. Start with the ball of the foot. Start massaging yourself at the base of the toes. Maybe even get those toes in there. Really give yourself a good little self-love. And then move down onto the arch of the foot. Really make sure you're getting the center, the inner arch, the edge of the foot. And then as you make your way down to the heel, give yourself a good little press there. Maybe the top of the foot with one hand as well. And then finally, we're going to come to this part, the Achilles heel, overhead squats. And just give it a nice little squeeze. Be very gentle and kind to yourself forever and always. There's no force here. All of it is just loving and sweet. And then release. And then the left foot is going to cross over that right leg. Place the foot down. Make sure that both sit bones come down. So right about now, if you need to elevate the hips, feel free to do so. You can also extend the bottom leg, and it'll look like this. So if you are here, both sit bones down, inhale, both arms up, lengthen. Think about the rib cage lengthening away from the pelvis. And on the exhale, we're twisting towards the left side. So left hand comes behind the back. You can either hold on to that leg with the right arm, or if you want a little bit more twist, that elbow just hooks and we twist looking over the back shoulder. Inhale, focus on the lengthening part of the stretch. And on the exhale, focus on the twist in the upper back. On the next exhale, gently release. We can come for a little counter pose, so hands down towards the opposite side of the mat. Maybe just bring the chest down. Make it feel good and happy in your body. And then we're going to cross the legs and roll forward into tabletop, or however you wish to come into your tabletop. Once we are there, we're going to tuck the toes, lift the hips for a downward facing dog. We're not going to be here for very long. Just take a deep breath in. Let it go. Press the chest through towards the thighs. And then we're going to inhale, right leg sweeps up, point the toes, squeeze the glutes. And that right heel is heavy towards the mat. Then we're coming forward, coming into pigeon. Left knee wider than the left wrist. Shin kind of, sort of, not at all parallel to the top of the mat. Wiggle the back foot back. Knee comes down as we come into our pigeon. Once again, focus on those hip bones being level, pointed down and forward. And then find a gentle bend in the elbows. Start pressing down into the shin, into the knee, into the foot. Once you got it, maybe not, maybe you stay right here. Hands can come to heart center. Another 2 breaths. Last one. And release. Whew. Sit off to the left side. Swing the back leg forward. Going for that sweet self-loving massage. Starting on the ball of the foot, the base of the toes. And then, of course, you can get those toes in there too. Ba, ba, ba. Give yourself a nice squeeze. moving down towards the arch of the foot, getting the center, the inner arch, the outer edge. And then moving all the way down towards the heel. Maybe one hand has the top of the foot. And then maybe this little part right here. Sweet. When you are ready, this foot is going to cross over. Both sit bones come down. Find whatever worked for you on the other side. Inhale, arms up, find length. And on the exhale, twist. Right hand behind the back and left elbow is the one that hooks, looking over the back shoulder. Inhale, focus on lengthening. And exhale, focus on that twist in the upper back. On the next exhale, gently release. Both hands come to the opposite side of the mat for that counter pose. And bring it all the way back up. Awesome. And then from there, once again, we're going to roll forward, coming onto our knees, coming into that tabletop. This is right about now where you are going to grab your blocks, your plates, your nothing. If you have nothing, it's okay. You don't need anything. So for puppy pose, we are stacking the hips on top of the knees more or less. We want to walk those blocks, if you have them, a little bit forward, but not too far forward, and a little bit wider than the shoulders. So you might readjust here as you figure out what feels good in your body. Then from here, we're going to make a fist, but the thumb is going to point up to the sky. Do it on both sides. Wiggle, wiggle until you find what works for you. We're thinking about a cat-cow back here. So on the inhale, we're going to drop the belly looking forward, untucking the tailbone so the sit bones are pointed up to the sky. Let the chest come as low as is comfortable and feels good. And on the exhale, round the spine. Feel like you're pressing those fists into the floor, into the blocks, and pulling them back towards you. Inhaling, looking forward. Drop the belly towards the thighs. And exhale, round the spine. Draw those fists back towards you. Inhaling. And exhaling. One more of each. And gently release, walk those hands back. Oh my gosh. Ooh. Okay. And then we're coming into a hovering tabletop. So restacking the shoulders on top of the wrists, hips on top of the knees, as always, forever and always. Press into the hands, lift the knees. Really feel like you're squeezing the belly in towards you, pulling it away from the floor. The left foot is going to step through towards the right side. So we're lifting the right hand, left foot steps through. As we lift the hips, focus on that shoulder mobility. Maybe reach one arm up or alongside the head, whatever feels good. Then we're going to bring it back, and as we bring it back, we're focusing on the core. Pull that belly away from the floor. Press the floor away. Other side, left hand lifts, right leg steps through. It's kind of like a reverse tabletop, half reverse tabletop. It's a hybrid. Anyway, place the hand back down, bring the knees back to hover, and other side. Really focus on that movement in the shoulder. Other side. And as we bring it back to center, focus on the core. One more on each side. And bring it all the way back down. Beautiful. We're coming back into the exact same puppy pose. This time though, our hands are going to be down. So hands are coming onto those blocks, stacking the hips on top of the knees. So once you are ready, think about dropping the belly down towards the thighs. Press the hands into the blocks, look forward. On the exhale, round the spine. Feel like you're pulling those hands back towards you. Broaden through the upper back. Inhaling down. Look forward as much as you can. You can also just have the gaze down to the mat. And exhale, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. Inhaling, looking up. And exhale down. One more of each. And gently release. Woo! I feel that in my shoulders. Once you're ready, we're going to grab onto one block. If you don't have a block, you can also do a dumbbell because it's kind of the same width. Because all we're going to do is we're going to place the hands either side of it and placing it down. So we're coming into a forearm tabletop, tucking the toes. And then pressing the hands into the block, drive the elbows down. Think about rounding through the upper back as we lift the hips up. And then imagine chest coming through towards the thighs as we look towards the knees. Now, we didn't focus a lot on the hamstrings, so if you feel like you really don't have the movement in the hamstrings, generously bend those knees. It's about the shoulders in this movement. We're going to hold it here for a couple breaths. Press the hands into your block or into your weight. And really press down into those elbows. One more breath in. Release it out. Bring the knees back down. Place the block off to the side. Then we're just going to flip over onto the bum. Extend the left leg out, and the right leg is gonna bend in and then out. Think about the foot being more or less in line with that hip, really opening it up. Right hand is gonna pin that leg down, left arm reaches up. Two more breaths. And gently release. Other side, left foot comes in and out. Coming in line with that hip. Left hand reaches off to the side. Remember, you can always elevate those hips if you need it. Make sure that you pin that leg back, open up that hip, and right arm reaches up. Two more deep breaths. And gently release. Walk both feet out in front. So hip width apart is about 2 fists in between the broadest part of the feet. But then we're going to open the heels out again. Open the toes out again. Toes are slightly pointed out. Make sure the knees and toes are in the same direction. Use those hands as we press ourselves up into a yogi squat, into malasana. Readjust as you need to. The hands can come to heart center as we press those knees wide. Find a nice straight spine. If this is not comfortable, you can always sit down on something, which makes it a little bit more restorative, but it is a good option to support you here. Keep those heels down, press into the outer edges of the feet. And then when you're ready, we're going to bring it all the way back up, and hopefully you are feeling ready for that overhead squat. The good news is that you really don't need much shoulder mobility to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for some more feel good in your own body content. So make sure you grab a certified CrossFit coach and you start warming up for your overhead squat. And please be sure to drop a comment down below. Tell me how this felt in your body.